Listen Up Audiobooks presents Blood, Sweat, and My Rock and Roll Years. Is Steve Katz a rock star? Written by Steve Katz. Narrated by Dan Triandiflou. Introduction. A 1 and a 2 and a... Once upon a time, I had an incredibly passionate and somewhat dysfunctional affair with Mimi Farina. When that went south, I had a fling with Joni Mitchell. Jim Morrison's girlfriend, Pam, used to come over to make love when Jim was drunk and abusing her. And it all seemed normal. I almost got into a fight with Bob Dylan, and I did many times with Lou Reed, and of course, Al Kooper. A formerly nice Jewish boy like me, and my partner in the Blues Project, and then Blood, Sweat, and Tears, who became Dylan's sidekick and dined out for years telling the story of how he crashed the Highway 61 recording session to play the organ on Like a Rolling Stone. Well, we spent half a lifetime trying to kill each other. I played at Monterey and Woodstock, not to mention one of those crazy Murray the K shows with The Who and Cream and Wilson Pickett, and partied with Groucho Marx, Sidney Poitier, Elizabeth Taylor, and the 69 Mets. Somewhere around my house here in the foothill of the Berkshires, I have 3 Grammy Awards, not bad out of 10 nominations. I have a few Downbeat Readers' Poll Awards, which are awesome, but also contributed to the downfall of Blood, Sweat, and Tears when the jazz guys in the band thought that was their cue to take over and start blowing serious shit, promptly driving our rock and roll audience away. I've got 3 gold albums and 1 that went quadruple platinum. Altogether, I've sold something like 29 million records. My neighbors don't have a clue. I've done tours with Miles Davis and Nina Simone, did my damnedest to teach Sammy Davis Jr. how to roll a serviceable joint, and eventually became everything I hated, a suit at a record company. Occasionally I gig, but never again with the guys who seemingly defined my career. Al Kooper, Lou Reed, and the woman-beating, arrogant, Blood, Sweat, and Tears singer, David Clayton Thomas. Of the 3, though, Lou was the real poison pill. He was the catalyst for me falling out with my brother, who was head of artist and repertoire at RCA, and Lou's putative boss. I produced 2 pretty good records for Lou, and pretty much saved him from a career as a cult figure living on the margins. A magazine once published a feature story called Blood, Sweat, and Blintzes. The subtitle on the cover was, "Is Steve Katz a rock star?" It was a fairly accurate portrait of me. There I was, listening to show tunes and leaving my parents' house with a week's worth of supplies. Stuffed cabbage, chicken soup with rice, salad with sour cream dressing, pot roast, potato kugel, corn on the cob, and, in case you are still hungry, roast chicken, not to mention a bag full of clean linens. I was, and am, kind of a nerd. I never wore cool on my sleeve like some guys could, and never tried. Jimi Hendrix once asked me if he could borrow my horn section for his next record. How much cooler did I need to be? Too bad he died before he got around to it. I got lucky. It's kind of hard to imagine now just how big Blood, Sweat, and Tears was back then. Smash records, traveling the world on private jets, too much money and sex to keep track of. And as proud as I am of our big hits, You've Made Me So Very Happy, and When I Die, I never liked Spinning Wheel. Unfortunately, we get blamed for a lot of bad jazz rock fusion. I swear I had nothing to do with that. I'm a rock and roll guy. I was a product of the times in which I lived, but thankfully, I wasn't a casualty. Talking about drugs in that magazine article, I sound like an idiot. It's great to play when you are stoned on grass. The psychic vibrations are much stronger. And then there was my mom, right there in the story, asking me if I ever took LSD, and me confessing that I had, but promising her I would never do it again. I guess it's kind of ironic that I ended up working with a notorious pincushion like Lou Reed. Rock stardom, real or imagined, drives people to some pretty weird places. I'm one of the fortunate ones. I walked through that door and, for the most part, stayed fairly sane. But boy, do I have a story to tell you. Chapter 1. The Birth of the Blues.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?